Looking at it, the guy's natural. He has to be natural. There's no way. There's no other explanation that you can have for this. You cannot grow like that and not have been natural.
Welcome to hell, motherfucker!
My name is Robin. I go by Robka or Robkasuke online. And today we're going to be talking about Keone Pearson.
One of the headlines about you was always that you're natural. And PJ was like, I remember PJ was, when he called me when he signed you, actually, he was like, yo, we got this guy. Yeah, we got this guy. He's amazing. He's natural. And then
my coach was saying we're finna go to the gym. Couldn't find out. I pulled up to like a little, like a doctor office. I was like, this is not a gym. He said, you finna get your blood work done. See if you're natural. I was like, okay. He's like, you nervous? I was like, no. He's like, you sure? I was like, I'm positive, PJ. It's like, okay. And the test came back. PJ was like, wow, he is natural.
Please subscribe to the channel and click that little bell if you enjoy these videos and you want to see more. So, Keone Pearson is an IFBB Pro bodybuilder. He's 31 years old. His height is somewhere between 5'5" and 5'6", okay? These are somewhat important things before we get started. He started off, I believe, competing in 2017.
Nope.
And pretty much immediately won his pro card in the NPC League. And was it in 2018? That he competed in his first pro show. By 2019, the guy was already at the Olympia. So, really quick rise out of him. Currently, he's competing in the 212 division. By his own words, he just needed the room to grow. Look at the pictures of him, or if you look at the videos of him. I mean, what is the likelihood? 0.001% chance that someone that looks like this is natural. But we have to keep in mind that these are the top guys of the sport. So this guy had been pro for less than 2 years and was a top 5 Olympian, okay? So this is an elite genetic freak. I'm talking about 1 in 10,000, 1 in 100,000, 1 in whatever. I'm not talking about the top 1%. The top 1% are guys that look really, really, really good, but they are not Olympia level, okay? How we're gonna figure this out? Well, we're actually gonna go back into the past and see if there was any big jumps that Keone had. Because usually, the one tell-all is if someone does a really, really big change. So what did Keone have to work with? What were his genetics like? His genetics were amazing. His genetics were inarguably amazing. This is Keone Pearson at 14 years old. There are adult men right now working their ass off in the gym, trying to look like Keone Pearson did at 14 years old. I mean, clearly, it's not just even the muscle building genetics, but it's the shape. You can already see the cap delts, you can see the chest, you can see the definition. The guy was just very blessed, picked the very, very correct parents for the sport that he chose to do. It's kind of hard to find stuff on Keone Pearson. I don't know if he's just not been that much online in the past or just hasn't shared that much stuff. But the next pictures I could find of him was from his own Instagram from the year 2014, 2015, and 2017, which was his competition year, but he had yet to compete that year. So this is his pre-competition physique. The 2014 picture, he's 19 years old. I mean, he looks unbelievable. He looks like most guys on steroids wish that they would look like. So at this point, you could already suspect him of having used something. I mean, most people will never look like this, even with hormones. You go on to 2015, 20 years old, what does he look like? Like an absolute freak.
Freak, no!
That's what he looks like. He looks like an absolute freak, like he could step on any regional or national stage right this second and completely blow out the show. Which he ended up doing in 2017, which is the next picture. his pre-competition picture, and I mean, oh my God, look at how much muscle this guy is carrying on him. It's absolutely insane to look at. I mean, what am I even looking at?
What is that? What is that? What is that?
Later on in the year, he competes in the NPC for his pro card. And he wins his class, which is Class A. And I was trying to figure out his weight here, and the closest I got was the fact that in 2017, the class limit was 175 pounds in the NPC. So I'm just gonna assume he's around 175, maybe a bit less. I mean, he's a guy that can put on a lot of muscle, so I could only assume that he's going to go as close to the weight cap to compete, because that would be the smartest thing to do. So completely blows the competition out of the water, wins his pro card. Looks amazing. But now, afterwards, he competes, I believe, in a total of 4 pro shows as a professional Classic Physique competitor. But I found this really good comparison of him in the NPC show, in the Tampa Pro show the following year, and then him in the New York Pro in 2019. So all of these pictures are 1 year in between. To keep in mind, Google claims that his weight cap would be at 5'6". And in 2018, 2019, the weight cap at the time was 178 pounds. So he actually couldn't have been that much heavier from his NPC competition. Like I said, unless he didn't hit the weight cap in the NPC and then hit the weight cap at his pro shows. But you can clearly see a progression between all of these pictures. I mean, the guy just keeps on growing and growing and growing. What I believe is just the conditioning got better. He got better with dehydrating, and he was able to add on more tissue, so he just kept looking insane. 2019 Olympia, he breaks the top 5 and comes out 4th, which is incredible. For your first Olympia, that is absolutely, it's almost unheard of. And here, suspectedly, he was 177, 178 pounds. Had to be. They were also talking about how he's struggling to make the weight. So I'm just going to assume he's right at the cap there. With these issues, Keone was like, oh, I'm struggling to make the weight cap. I keep growing. I don't have any room to like actually be what I want to be. So he decides to move on to the 212 division. This is the moment Keone claims that he finally started using hormones. So what happened between 2019 and his first show in the 212 division in the 2020 Chicago Pro? Not even a year between these shows, okay? So keep that in mind. He completely comes and just blows everyone's minds at Chicago Pro. He steps on the stage somewhere between 205 and 210 pounds of muscle. So he's up 25 to 30 pounds from what he used to be like. This is the question. Do you think there is some special steroid out there that magically, after you've been on gear for years, you can take it and just grow another 30 pounds? Because if there's a lot of pros right now struggling to put on tissue that want that gear. This is where the biggest question for me comes in, is that as unbelievable as his look in the Classic Physique is, as much doubt that I had about him being natural in these shows, seeing this 30-pound jump, 30 pounds is what most people hope to put on in their whole lifetimes. So he says he goes on hormones here and in less than a year grows 30 pounds. At this point, I'm looking at it. The guy's natural. He has to be natural. There's no way. There's no other explanation that you can have for this. You cannot grow like that and not have been natural. So what are the buts? Number one, he was up about, let's say, 25 pounds. Since the weights, they're all, seems like guesses. It's really hard to find this guy's info. 25 pounds up, Arguably, his conditioning, it was slightly not as good. So he might be holding maybe a few extra pounds of water, maybe a few extra pounds of fat. And also, let's keep in mind, he kept struggling to make weight for Classic Physique. Meaning, and from his own coach, he apparently had to lose muscle to make the weight for Classic Physique. Meaning that the 178 pounds was not where Keone was sitting comfortably. He had to actually go in a really steep deficit and destroy some of his tissue. Meaning that we don't know if his comfortable weight would have been 185 pounds, 190 pounds, 195 pounds. It's hard to say because it's not specified. So this is where it could be like, he could have just kept on growing through the years while being on gear. And because of the weight gap, he was kind of stuck in the growth. And finally, when that weight gap was removed with the 212 and he could add another 40 pounds on, he could finally allow himself to grow the weight that he was supposed to be growing. So that is a big, big suspect moment right there. People could be like, but why would he lie? Why would he lie? And even I myself was asking that, why would you lie about that? You know, people are already open. You're already admitting that you're not natural. You're already admitting that you're on hormones. Why would people lie? I'll tell you why. Bodybuilding is one of the most insecure sports. You are judged completely with vanity reasons. So you yourself, if you have been in the fitness industry, you know how common this fake natural stuff is. And you know why people do it. Because then you can either say, one, my genetics are just way better than yours. And we already know they are. You're a top Olympia competitor, but they're even better than that. They're even better than good. They're even better than great. My genetics are just so elite that I can go on a stage with guys that are on all kinds of gear and I can just be natural and just beat them. That could be a reason. Another reason could be, oh, you're discrediting my hard work. Anyone who's in the industry understands that the hard work still goes hand in hand with the gear. There's no one that's on gear and not putting in tons of hard work and just competing at an elite level. But people will do all kinds of things for attention because guess what? I'm making a video about it. Other people have probably made a video about it. Everyone on Instagram was talking about it. It's a topic. It's automatically a discussion. This is great for Keone's numbers. This is great for his attention, for his exposure, speculation. Whatever supplement companies he has can be like, whoa, look at these guys. They don't believe our guy is natural. Maybe he actually wasn't. There's so many reasons. The reality is we don't really know, but here's what I think. Because I've laid out all the stuff that I could find out and I've speculated on him. So here's what I think. If we pull up the picture from him from NPC to Tampa Pro to the New York Pro, I believe that he started using something in low doses. I don't know what. Probably something like testosterone in not a very high dose. Maybe some kind of oral as well. As we know, Chris Bumstead has stated that for his first show, he did 400 of test, 20 of Anavar per week. Maybe something like that. Why do I think that? Well, you can clearly see in the NPC, even though he looks completely mind-blowing, compared to the Tampa Pro look, there's something way more bubbly about the Tampa Pro look that was only a year later. He looks rounder. He looks more, how would you say, almost cartoonish. And if you take that Tampa Pro to the New York Pro look, that could be easily a slow process on very low amounts of gear. Why do I think it's that part? Well, because before the NPC, if you look at his 2017 picture, if you look at his 2015 picture and 2014 picture, I wouldn't say there was a big jump anyway there. His NPC, he wasn't super dialed in. I mean, he was in great shape, but it wasn't to a point where he could dethrone someone at an elite pro level. But that changed when he went on to the pro level. conditioning got better, muscles got rounder. Arguably, he put on a considerable amount of lean tissue. Whereas the NPC and the years before that, maybe I could believe that you are just a genetic freak and you have been training really hard, right, with good diet. You just have the right muscle bellies, and that's how you look at your complete, natural, like, near peak. After that, how would I explain the weight jump? Well, like I said, there's two things. Number one, he didn't come in as conditioned. For example, in 2024 Olympia, he was only 200 pounds, but seemed like he had packed on more lean tissue. Meaning that who knows, if he would have done the Chicago Pro in perfect conditioning, would he have even been over 200 pounds? If I had to speculate, if I had to make a bet, I would say he went on something after he won his NPC show and got his pro card, knowing that he's going to compete at a higher level now. And once he got on it, he saw that he's actually responding really, really good, because he was only in the Classic Physique competing for about 2 years before he jumped into 212. And during his Classic Physique era, like I said, he struggled to make weight. So he was already outgrowing it. So what I think, he was responding great. So all that he had to do after the 2019 Olympia was either slightly up the doses, start eating more, not having to worry about that weight cap anymore, and boom, he added on that 15-20 pounds of tissue. Because that 15-20 pounds of tissue might have not been full tissue as he kept on cutting back for the Classic Physique. I feel like I keep going over this, but it might have been that he only put on 10 pounds of where he was already wanting to sit at during his Classic Physique era. Up the food, slightly up the doses. Is adding 10 pounds as an elite responder that crazy? Maybe if someone knows more about these hormones, they could say that no, even that isn't realistic. But that's what I think, if I had to guess on it. So what is the final conclusion? I believe if I was a betting man and I had to bet, gun to my head, was he natural competing in the Classic Physique division? I would say he was not. I don't think he was on a bunch of gear. I don't think he was doing anything too crazy, but I do not believe that he was natural. But like I said, leave a comment down below. What do you think? Was he natural? Was he not natural? Was he already not natural back when he was 14? What do you think? Why do you think it? Let's have a discussion. Leave a like if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel. Comment about something else if you want, just to boost the algorithm. Follow my Instagram if you want. Follow my TikTok. And I will see you guys whenever I see you next. Peace. Comment.